Good morning, Grace, Missoula. It's my last week to be with you. Rev Eric Strader here, your Congregational Resource Minister for Montana West. Today's sermon is about the vision God has for the church. We don't often talk about this vision, but it is a beautiful vision of challenging us to expand our horizons, to welcome others into the church, to go where we didn't think we could go. I hope you hear this story today and are open to the ways God calls us, just as God called Peter in the 10th chapter of Acts. Grace, Missoula, I want to say it has been an honor for me to work with your leadership team over the past several months as you have been in this transition. And the transition work now shifts from waiting to working with Reverend Bill as you move forward together. It's going to be an exciting time, but it is also going to be a challenging time for you to figure out what the next steps are. How do you step out into your community? What are the processes you need to put in place to change and shift to be a community of faith for all people? Now, change is never easy. We know that. It's never simple. It's full of complex emotions. It's full of action steps that may take us 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. It's going to be full of missteps and barriers and challenges we can't even see right now. What I have learned in my faith is that what is most important about change is recognizing it is not the world asking us to change. It is not the pastor or the conference or me asking you to change. It is God. God asks you to change. The sermon today is a full retelling of the story of Peter in Acts 10 and his call from God to change. Peter, the rock of the church, the bold disciple, is in Jerusalem. It's just a few months after the resurrection and that Pentecost story, and he's actually sleeping, snoring away, enjoying a wonderful rest, when an angel comes to him and wakes him up. I want you to imagine the angel standing at the foot of Peter's bed. "Oh, Peter, Peter, I'm awake, I'm awake," Peter says, rubbing his eyes. "Are you hungry, Peter?" "I'm starving." And the angel shows Peter this huge assortment of wild beasts and birds of the air and fish from the sea and says, "Kill and eat." And Peter looks at the animals and looks at the angel and says, Is this a joke? This food isn't even prepared. I mean, you've got a badger, 2 snakes, a crab. I am Jewish. I can't eat any of this. "Aren't you hungry, Peter?" "Yes, but you should know, you're an angel, that I can't eat this." "Then why would I have brought this for you?" "Yeah, that's exactly my point," Peter exclaims, frustrated. Suddenly, the angel puts Peter back to sleep. "Peter, oh Peter, it's time to eat." "Great, I'm starved." "Anything you see, Peter, kill and eat." "Wait a minute, weren't you just here?" "I mean, you were, and you brought the same animals this time with you, but you added more snakes. And is that a porcupine? I can't eat a porcupine." But the angel didn't respond, and so Peter continued, "Is this a test? Look, I follow the tenets of the law to the very best of my ability." "Right," the angel said, "but I thought you said you were hungry." I am." "Then why are you questioning what's been brought before you?" "Listen, I have been a good disciple. I have done the work. I have followed Jesus' commandments. I've done what God..." Peter begins to rant when all of a sudden the angel puts Peter back to sleep. "Peter, Peter, it's time to eat. Are you hungry?" "Oh, you're here with the animals again. Can we just dispense with all this?" Anything you see here, Peter, kill and eat. I've already said I can't eat any of this, and that's a warthog. I'm Jewish. I can't eat pork. This is the third time I can't eat any of this. Peter, who do you think is bringing you this food? I'm not going to eat any of these animals. When suddenly Peter falls back asleep. Peter, oh, Peter. I've decided I'm really just not that hungry. But this time there were no animals present. And the angel says to Peter, there's a nice spinach quiche downstairs with a side of mackerel for you. And Peter hesitantly asks, and I don't have to kill it? Nope. Oh, and one more thing. There's 3 men coming here to see you. And you're going to tell them about Jesus. And they are going to take you to Cicero to see a man named Cornelius. So this man named Cornelius, he isn't a Jew. He's a good man, Peter. But he's not a man of the Jewish faith. He has given much of his wealth to the poor. But he's not Jewish. Peter, you've been given 3 dreams telling you to eat some food that your law says you can't. And now 3 men are going to take you to a man that your religion says you can't associate with. And you think it's some kind of coincidence. Called you the rock, did he? And Peter replies softly, yes. And the angel leaves Peter, the rock of the church, to tell not just a portion of the world, the entire world, about the wonders of God. Peter had limits to how he understood what God could do. Limits in faith, limits to the resurrection, limits in food, limits of rules, limits on people. And God kept showing him how unlimiting God is going to be. Do you really think this is a coincidence? Or could it be something more? And Peter, the rock, believed. May you believe also. Amen.